The comeback fight for Drakkar Klose, looking to rebound off his loss to Beneil Dariush, and he's taking on the human highlight reel, Brandon Jenkins. Matt, this is a head scratcher of a fight because before the long layoff, before the loss to Beneil Dariush, Drakkar Klose thought of as one of the better lightweights that was out there. I mean, even if you scratch that out, 11-1 with a draw, and in the UFC his only loss was to a Tamor brother. It was David. It was the better Tamor. So if you do look at it, Drakkar Klose was able to rack off 3 big wins after that Tamor loss over Lando Venata, over Bobby Green, very controversially. Very, very controversially. And then he beats Christos Giagos, a well-rounded guy, especially with his grappling and his submission abilities, before losing to Beneil Dariush. Now, that Dariush fight was wild. Go back and watch that. It's absolutely insane. Both guys rocked. Beneil.
That's where this meme comes from. Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, John Anik.
It was insane. So, Klose takes about a year away. And I gotta mention the names that he was booked with. Jai Herbert, the fight fell out. Luis Pena, the fight fell out. Jeremy Stevens, the push, the concussion, the herniated disc, all the questions around Drakkar Klose. He takes some more time off. Now he's about 2 years removed from that fight against Beneil Dariush. He's taking on Brandon Jenkins, who is the biggest head scratcher of a signing in the UFC. I mean, he loses to Mike Breeden 2.5 years ago over with LFA by flying knee. He beats Jordan Hindman in one of the most disgusting spinning back elbow knockouts I've ever seen. Go watch it. It sounds like a guy hitting a golf ball off a tee. It's a ping when his elbow spins around and hits him. You can find that one on YouTube. Jenkins then beats Aaron Mitchell, a guy who came in on really short notice for the fight, was taped up like Judo Dan Kelly, and Jenkins is able to grind out a decision in that one. And then he beats Jacob Kilburn, who's had a bad run in the UFC and also outside of the UFC with the most delayed jumping switch knee I've ever seen in my life.
I'm going to push back a little bit. I don't completely disagree with the UFC signing Brandon Jenkins. Like, he's an exciting fighter who does crazy stuff. Does he always win? No, but no one in the UFC does.
So he came in on short notice, replacing Dakota Bush. He took on Rong Zhu, and he got beat soundly. He got finished in that fight. Continue.
Okay, all those things are very true. Again, when a guy has multiple wins, though, by spinning elbows and flying knees outside the UFC, I don't question the UFC signing him, because that guy is definitely going to bring eyeballs in. And when you're an unranked fighter bringing eyeballs in, we can't often point to people like that. So this is a weird fight, though, and I kind of like it for Drakkar Klose coming back, because I'm a big advocate for kind of, warm-up fights when guys are promising talents who have been away for a long time, who have some question marks around their health coming back. Because I think everybody who can agree, who's ever watched Brandon Jenkins and who's ever watched Drakkar Klose can admit, Drakkar Klose is the much more technical guy. He has the better cardio. He's more defensively sound. And really, he just doesn't leave a lot of massive holes in his game. Really, the only time we've ever seen him get caught and hurt was when he hurt Beneil Dariush. You guys may have heard of him before. Very, very good fighter. And he just got a little overexcited when he was going for his own finish, and Dariush was able to crack him with his own big shot and finish him with one of the craziest combos we've ever seen in MMA. But don't get it twisted. Drakkar Klose defensively with his striking defense is very, very high level. Like, you brought up some of the guys who he's fought. Yes, the Bobby Green fight was close, and the Giagos fight was quite close too, but those are two really good fighters. And even if you're having close fights with those guys, I'd much rather you have a close fight with Bobby Green than you barely beat somebody come off Dana White Tuesday Night Contenders. Like, Drakkar Klose, to me, is he a top 15 guy? Maybe on his best day he could be in that 13 to 15 range, but I think he offers anybody a very difficult fight between rank 10 and 25, let's say. And I don't think Brandon Jenkins is necessarily in that category, because in the lightweight division at the UFC, like, we've talked about this every time we talk about this division. Like, you have to be world-class to not even break into the rankings, to be a borderline ranked fighter in this division. Drakkar Klose at least worked his way up to that point, and I do think that just him being so defensively sound isn't going to leave the window open for Brandon Jenkins to land one of those crazy techniques that he normally relies on.
No, I mean, again, Brandon Jenkins came in on a few days' notice to take on Rong Zhu. He gets knocked down in the first round. He gets finished in the third round. It wasn't a very good performance, so we'll see what happens here in this one. Jenkins out of Syndicate. You also have Jordan Leavitt on this card from that gym. Drakkar Klose, he spent time at Fight Ready in the past, as well as the MMA Lab. And for Klose at this point, he's 34. He just turned 34 about a month ago. So it's do or die. It's now or never for him in his career.
And I think that's a great point that you bring up too, because for Klose, this injury couldn't have happened at a worse time of his career. He was almost in the top 15 in his early 30s. So you still have a little bit of time to work. Now you've missed out on that sort of late prime window from like that 31 to 35 category. So I couldn't agree more. For Klose, he really does have to get things moving from this point on. Like, let's say he does look impressive against Jenkins. I hope he has a name in mind that he can go to on the mic afterwards, just so he can set up, okay, what's the next fight for Klose to hopefully get him back to where he was pre-injury.
And for Drakkar Klose, again, I said about that Bobby Green fight, unanimous decision win. All three judges gave the first round and the third round, the first and the second to Drakkar Klose. MMA decisions, there were 3 people that had it 30-29 for Klose. There were 11 that had it 30-29 for Bobby Green. I went back and watched it. Bobby Green's volume was definitely there. And Drakkar Klose is one of those guys, if he can't figure out the distance, it's not good for Drakkar Klose. I mean, you talked about it before we even started to film. Like, that fight against David Tamor, it really didn't go his way. I mean, his UFC debut was against Devin Powell. He looked like a world beater, beat main zone. So we'll see how that plays out in this fight against Brandon Jenkins, a guy who's not really dependent on his volume, more dependent on some of those flashy strikes. When you look at the odds for this one, Klose opener minus 260 is a minus 415. Brandon Jenkins opener plus 220 is plus 310. If we have a look over on Topology, I do not anticipate that it's overly close. I'm going to say over... Oh, see what I did right there? I'm going to say over under 90% close. What would you say?
I'll say under, but it'll be high.
It's much higher. 571 total votes, 97% close, 70% by decision, 23% by knockout for the 3% that have Jenkins, 50% by knockout. I've got Drakkar Klose. Again, I wouldn't anchor a parlay to it based on the inactivity, the 2 years away. But the best Drakkar Klose beats the best Brandon Jenkins 9.9 times out of 10.
And I think that's the best way of breaking it down. But I will say this. I don't think we're going to get prime Drakkar Klose. Whatever version you think of Drakkar Klose, take like 15% off of it, at least for this first fight. Maybe he'll show up, look kind of rusty early on, and kind of settle himself into the fight late. But don't forget how good of a fighter he was before that Dariush fighter, even during the Dariush fight. Like, Drakkar Klose is maybe not a top-ranked lightweight, but he really is a talented one. I think he'll be able to get it done against Jenkins.
And for me, I wouldn't be surprised if he also mixes in a little bit of the wrestling against Brandon Jenkins, because we've seen takedown defense be an issue for Jenkins on the regional scene. So both of us in this fight going with the guy representing Phoenix. It's Drakkar Klose out of Michigan. So let us know who you have down below in the comment section. Big fights on this card, including a big time debut for Caio Borralho, and he's taking on Haji, the man himself, Omar Gadzhiev, in that co-main event. You have Luque taking on a tricky out in Bilal Muhammad in a rematch in that main. So keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. As we always say, let's get into it.